ladies, it's Taylor Alyce here, and I wanted to come to you guys with a video regarding my birth story. So I told you guys in my update that I wanted to let you guys know what was happening, why I went into labor, when I went into labor, how far along was I. So all those questions will be answered. I found out I was pregnant in December of 2018. My due date was September 4th, 2019. I was basically hitting 7 months. I was 28 weeks when I went into labor, and I had Autumn. I didn't really feel any like crazy symptoms of like labor. Like I didn't feel like I was cramping. I didn't feel like I was having any issues. When I hit third trimester, which would be the 7 months, I was noticing like lower back pain. My sciatic nerve was like really like killing me. It would hurt to do like one-legged workouts. Whenever I like slept on my back, it was kind of irritating. So I never really slept on my back. I always slept on my sides, mostly my left side. So getting into birth story. So I have a few clips I will be inserting when I was in the hospital, and then perhaps some of my labor, and then the aftermath of them like cleaning her off and stuff like that. So I won't go into too much detail. Hopefully it's not considered too much detail, but I will let you guys know like what went through. So let me rewind it to a month prior. So the day after Mother's Day, I was in a car accident. I left work at like 12, I think, and 12 p.m. and I got home. I changed. I was gonna take my dog with me because sometimes I take my dog with me to do errands, but I decided not to because I knew I was gonna go into like the grocery stores, and I don't like being the dog owner to take my dog into a grocery store unless it's like really hot outside or unless I walked somewhere. So I decided not to take him with me, and normally he's like in the back seat of my car whenever I'm driving. So I'm just very thankful that I decided not to take him with me because car accident happened. I was making a left turn into a yellow going into red light. So when I made my turn, the car had sped through the light and it hit me. And luckily I heard a horn. I heard like a beep. So I sped through the light, and when I sped through the light, I was basically speeding to get to the other side so I wouldn't get hit because I heard the car like beeping its horn. So it beeped and it practically like T-boned me, but like at the end of my car. So my car was totaled. Thankfully I got out with no injury, but my airbags went off on the sides of my windows, and it didn't go off on my steering wheel, which I'm so thankful for, because if it did, it would have hit my belly and there would have been a whole bunch of like issues. So got in the car accident. I was safe. My car was totaled, but after the car accident, my husband and I went to the hospital and we just made sure the baby was okay, and the doctor said she was fine. The next day I felt like my back was sore, my lower abdomen was a little bit sore, it felt tender, almost bruised. And so I went to the doctors the next day and then the day after that just to get a checkup. My checkup was already coming up on the 18th, I believe, or it was coming up on the 15th. And I got into my car accident on the 13th. So my doctor's appointment was already there. And doctor said everything was good. I wasn't, having any issues, no pain. She was moving in my belly, so I didn't have any issues. So fast forward exactly a month later. I was at work. I went to work. It was a Tuesday. I was there pretty much, until I had to leave. I went home, and I always was craving like a bagel or like a smoothie. So when I went home, I made a smoothie. I sat down and ate. I think I ate a burrito. No, it was a burrito bowl. That's what I ate. I made a burrito bowl and I had a smoothie, and I was sitting on my couch, and when I went to bend down to get my smoothie, just how I'm sitting on my couch now, I went down to get my smoothie, and when I went down, if you're pregnant, you know that it's kind of hard to bend, or it's kind of hard to like lean forward because your belly's in the way, and like bending is too much pressure on the stomach. So I kind of like opened my legs further and I bent down to get my smoothie, and when I came back up, all I felt was like a gush, like literally like like it felt like a balloon. Like I want to say a balloon, like imagine like opening a balloon that you just put water in and just letting it go. That's how it felt. Felt like a whole gush of water. I came down and I'm like, what is going on? I did not want to admit that it was my water that broke, but I got it like really quick and I just like kind of stood there and I got, like undressed, and I got in the shower and I just like stood there, and then more water came. It was like a gush. And I looked and it was like clear. So I'm like, what the heck is this? Like, what is going on? And so that's when I started to panic, because I was just like, okay, whoa. I cannot be going into labor. Like, I cannot be going into labor. I cannot have my water break right now. Like, what is going on? So all I could think about was work. All I could think about was getting to the hospital. All I could think about was calling Kohl's. And so I had to like think, like, Taylor, calm down. You're not in pain. Like, you aren't having any contractions, so maybe it's just your water broke. So I call Cole. He's not answering his phone. At this point, like, I'm actually very frustrated, because I'm like, he's not answering his phone. I gotta get in the car and drive to his job, which he only works like 5 minutes away from our house, so it wasn't that big of a deal. So I got dressed as quick as I could, and you guys, first of all, I wanted to be all cute for my labor. I wanted to have my hair in an actual style. I wanted to have my hair in braids, and I just took my hair out of my twist like maybe 2 days prior. So I got my sweatpants on, I got my slides, and I got my tank top on, a tank top that I think it was dirty. I don't even know. I just grabbed it off of the bed, and I had my bra on already, and I bounced. I put my dog in our back room. I bounced. I got the keys real quick. I'm calling Cole while I'm like driving to his job, still not answering. And I even called his job and I was like, hey, is Cole there? And he was like, no, he's not there. So I'm about to like be in verge of tears, because I'm like, he's not there. I don't know if I'm going to be able to drive all the way to the hospital by myself. I pull up, I stop, I get out the car. He's already outside. He gets in the driver's seat, and I jump into the passenger seat and we take off. So we're on the road. I'm not like having any contractions, but there's like water gushing. It's like, it felt like I was in a pool and I just stood up and it was just there. So I'm sitting in the car and it's just more and more fluids coming out. I'm like touching my stomach. At that point I start to cry, because I don't know if she's moving inside. Like, I don't know what is going on. I'm just like sitting in the car like crying, and you know, Cole is driving and staying as calm as he could, which I'm very thankful for. He wasn't driving crazy or anything like that. He was driving very calmly. And the hospital that we were going to is like 15 minutes away from our house, so it wasn't any like traffic. It was just at the perfect time, perfect everything. So we get to the hospital. I'm tearing up. Elevator, I was crying. I was just crying, guys. Like, I was in panic mode because I just didn't know what was going on. So we get to the hospital, and we like waited maybe like 5 minutes, because the lady was like discharging, or she was intaking some other girl that was standing there. And at that point, like, I'm worried. I don't know what's going on. I feel like this is an emergency. So I'm like getting frustrated because the lady's taking forever. I tell her that like my water broke.
And she's like, okay, hold on. You gotta fill out this information.
So I'm like, what? Like, first of all, my water broke. We need to make sure that there's nothing going inside of me. And, you know, we need to figure this out. So my husband, he goes back over there and he's like telling the lady, like,
hey, my wife her water broke. Like, why is there a paperwork to fill out? Here's her Kaiser card. Let's go.
So the lady tells me that I need to go in one of the rooms, a little waiting room. So I go in the room, I undress, and they check me out, and she told me that my water did break, and they did a ultrasound on me, and we found out the baby was fine. Her heartbeat was great. There was still fluid there, so not everything came out, but my water definitely did break, and I was basically gonna go into labor, but they were gonna stop it. So they gave me steroids. They gave me magnesium, I think magnesium sulfate, I think that's what it's called. It's basically to help stop labor. And they pretty much like took me in as a patient, and that was on June. That was on June 11th, and I ended up going into labor on June 14th.
So I am in the labor and delivery room right now. My water broke and I'm 27 weeks and 6 days. So not good. They're giving me magnesium and they gave me a shot of steroids in my stomach, or not my stomach, my butt. And then they also are giving me antibiotics. So they're taking my blood pressure every 5 minutes. So we're in the hospital room. Whew. Man, that's crazy.
So all 3 of those days, June 11th, basically I couldn't eat anything the whole day. They had me on liquids. June 12th, they had me on liquids as well. And then on June 13th, that's when they were like, hey, we're going to push you to postpartum room, and we're going to have you basically go into one of those rooms, and you're going to be staying there for the rest of your pregnancy. Automatically, if you know me in real life, I cannot sit down. Like, I can, but then I can't. I'm always doing something. I still like to be able to move around. I still like to be able to do things on my own. I'm very independent. So being like in a hospital for the next 2 months was not a possibility for me, and I knew it. Once they told me that, I was like, there's no way I can do that. Just from work, I can't do that. I'm always a busybody at work. I'm constantly moving around. A lot of people at work didn't even know I was pregnant for the longest time, because first of all, I didn't start showing until like the last month of me being pregnant, which sucks because I don't have any like maternity pictures or anything like that. So like I said, if you know me, I'm not gonna be sitting down in a hospital bed for 2 months. Like, I don't think anybody can do that. So on the 13th, that's when they put me in the postpartum room, and I was able to eat solid food. The first 2 days, I only could eat ice, Jello, water, broth. That was pretty much it. I couldn't have any solids, and I had to have clear liquids. They didn't want me to poop or anything like that, so I was just peeing like every hour, it felt like. And I was on bed rest. They had me on like compressions for my feet. They had me in the bed, and I'll insert some clips from like when I was in the hospital room and stuff like that.
So this angle is not really working the best for me, but I hope you guys can hear me. It's midnight, June 12th, and pretty much I'll be staying here. And I have my vegetable broth and my cranberry juice. So I can only drink liquids right now. So I'm gonna have to pee a lot. They said they wanted to do a catheter. I was like, So I'm just doing the bedpan for now until I really feel like I can't get up and lift myself. I feel like the catheter is very painful, and I don't want to deal with any uncomfort, especially while I'm asleep, because I know I turn a lot, and I like to sleep on like one side or the left side, so I don't want to have to deal with that. But this vegetable broth is pretty good, and this is pretty much the only thing I've had to eat since like 3:30 p.m. So I'm just watching TV. Cole went back downstairs to the car to get his pillow because the hospital pillows are kind of uncomfortable. I feel kind of drowsy. They gave me my magnesium, for the health of the baby, baby's brain, her development with her lungs, and side effects are usually drowsiness and muscle relaxation. So I'm kind of relaxed right now. So if I'm not like, if I don't seem the same, that's probably why. Yeah, I'm gonna be on bed rest. This is pretty crazy, but I'm blessed. I'm able to come to the hospital as quick as I was and not waited. That's what I'm thankful for. So as you guys can see, my eyes are definitely less drowsy than before. I'm still kind of loopy, not loopy, but just like when I focus on something, I can't really see it, so I have to like look away and then refocus back on it. But the nurses did come in here and tell me that I am going to be transferred, or they put in an order to transfer me to a different room, one that's for like post-care. So they said that I'm doing really good, the baby's doing really good, and that I don't have to be hooked up to all of this stuff and be on antibiotics through the IV. I will be put on like pills. I believe that's what the next transition is. I haven't had any crazy contractions, thank the Lord, and I'm just praying that she behaves and that she's cool, and that she can hold out. I'm just trying to rest as much as I can. It's really hard to rest when there's like beeping going off consistently. So I'm very excited to move to the next room. Cole isn't here right now, so I don't know how all this stuff is going to be transferred over. But yeah.
In the postpartum room, I ate my dinner. I had like a little pasta, and I had a little dessert. It was an angel food cake, and I had cranberry juice. I was so thankful for the cranberry juice. So I got to stay in the postpartum room, and on like the room, on the bathroom door, it showed like what to do in a case of an emergency when it comes to like going into labor. So on the door it did say like, if you're bleeding, call the nurse. If you are having excess fluid leak out, call the nurse. If you have to pee, call the nurse. If there is a medical emergency, call the nurse. Like all this stuff to call the nurse, like just in case you're doubting yourself or stuff like that. So they told, on the thing it said, if you're bleeding, call the nurse. So I was in the hospital bed at like 4 in the morning. I really needed to pee. At that point, they allowed me to get up and go pee. That was it. Like I could get up by myself and go pee and then go back to the bed. That's it. I couldn't walk around. They had me just made sure that I was on bed rest, literally. And so when I got up to go pee, I noticed that I was bleeding. And I'm like, okay, I'm not bleeding a lot, but like this is enough to tell them. So I called the nurse and I'm like, hey, it's 4 in the morning. I just woke up, and I noticed that when I went to go pee, I was bleeding. So I'm not sure what that sign is, but I'd want to let you know because I saw on the door, it did say, if you're bleeding. And I was like, I am having a little bit of cramps here and there. It's probably like 1 every hour, so it wasn't too close, but I did notice that they were cramps. So the nurse comes in and they check me out, and she's like, oh, let me get the doctor. So the doctor comes in and they tell me that I'm 2 centimeters dilated and that they're going to put me back into the original room that I was in, which is the labor and delivery room. Mind you, they moved me to the postpartum room. Now I'm at the labor and delivery room.
I put away, okay?
Got it.